Welcome to Fruity Knitting. I'm Madeline.
And I'm Andrea.
And this is episode 160. Fruity Knitting is your gateway to knitting inspiration from around the world, as well as extra snippets of travel, history, and storytelling that we hope adds joy to your life and brings a smile to your face.
So November's been a really busy month for us. We're continuing to work on our new yarn range. That also includes things like building a Shopify website and designing a new logo and yarn labels, and also getting our head around, or Madeline's mainly been doing this, figuring out how to do worldwide VAT, shipping and tariffs. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
So that's ongoing behind the scenes, but we also travelled down to Munich to cover the Munich Knits Yarn Festival for the first time. So Munich Knits is now in its third year and it's already grown into quite a big, sophisticated event. And we've put together a 50-minute collage of all the activities that went on during the festival. And I think it's going to give you a good idea of what Munich Knits is all about. So if you couldn't attend, I hope this episode makes you feel like you did. Our footage includes a short interview with the festival founder, Claudia Finlay, a tour of the marketplace, a look at extra activities, things like knitting yoga and the live premiere reading of a knitting crime novel, and also the special evening lecture with the artist Kaffe Fassett. And then we give a good overview of the workshops and the teachers, and we end with some short vendor interviews. And they include two very popular German designers and two excellent hand dyers. So one who's based in Berlin and the other comes from Denmark. And if I'm allowed to say so myself, I do think our coverage is really, really good. It's both entertaining and educational, which is always our goal for you.
Yeah. And as Mum mentioned, we have also been working on our own yarn range, which we're doing in collaboration with the artisan spinning mill, John Arbon Textiles. And part of developing your own yarn is test knitting it yourself. So that's what Mum and I have been doing, and now we each have a finished project to share with you and bring and brag. So I'm going to start with my finished petite knit Elisabeth blouse. And this yarn is a blend of 90% Corriedale, 10% silk. It's a sport weight with 4 plies, so that makes it really round and smooth, and it should give really good stitch definition. We've noticed that here, but I want to try it out on cables. So this particular colour is one of my favourites. It's called Lily Pilly, and it's named after the bright pink berries on the native Australian Lily Pilly bush. And as a quick refresher, this is what the original Elisabeth blouse looks like. It uses a sport weight yarn with a gauge of 23 stitches and 32 rows per 10 square centimetres, which I achieved on 3.75mm needles, and it's knitted top down and in the round, starting with a double layered collar. And the V neckline is finished with a sleek double knit band. So overall, this is a very easy project to knit, but in my personal experience, there seems to be an unspoken law in knitting that no project is allowed to go 100% smoothly.
Especially for you, Dales.
I know, something's always going to go wrong, and Mum was calling me the queen of unpicking, which is very true. So alas, it was supposed to be the same with this one. This time I had issues with the hem. Now the original design calls for a very simple 1x1 rib, but I really like the double knit look of the collar and of the neckband, so I thought I would repeat that in the hem and in the cuffs, and this has been done before. And there are 2 ways I thought about doing it. So the first way is to just knit extra rows, and then you add extra length to the fabric and simply fold it inwards and sew it down, and there you have your double layered fabric.
And you can have a purl row on the edge to make it sort of a crisper fold.
Yeah, that's true. So that's one method. The other method would be to increase the number of stitches on your needles and then start double knitting the way I did with the neckband. So I chose the latter method, but I ended up regretting it, and we'll get to why in a moment, and whether it was really the method's fault or if it was my fault. But first, I wasn't quite sure how to double knit in the round, because so far I had only double knit flat, where you always knit the knit stitches and slip the purl stitches. So it took me a little bit, but not too long, to realise, of course, you simply alternate between knitting the knit stitches and slipping the purl stitches on one round, and then slipping the knit stitches and purling the purl stitches on the next round. So you alternate between that. And I went with this method. So I enjoyed that because I was doing something new. But the more I knitted, the more concerned I became about the width of my hem. I eventually finished the hem using the Italian bind-off, and, well, you can see for yourself how that turned out. My hem basically looked like a hula hoop. So it was funny, but at the same time I felt quite frustrated because I had spent and wasted a lot of time doing the double knitted hem and also the Italian bind-off. So to stay positive and kind of regulate my emotions, I forgot about the hem for a while, moved on to the sleeves, and didn't come back to the hem until everything else had been completed and I felt like I'd accomplished something again.
It was a really good idea. I didn't have a close enough look to see why it didn't work, but I think it was a good idea.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. I was saying that you might notice I didn't really consult Mum much this time, and that might have saved me some heartache.
She's very independent.
I want to be. I think that's a side effect of working with your mother.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I moved on to the sleeves and came back to the hem, and then I decided to just go with the 1x1 rib instead to keep it easy because I was sick of not having this project finished. And as to why my experiment failed, I think there are a few reasons. I think the first and most obvious reason is that I doubled the number of stitches on my needles, and I think I should have just increased it every third or fourth or fifth stitch basically. So I didn't need to double the number of stitches on my needles, just increase it by, I don't know, maybe a quarter.
Did you go down a needle size?
No, I also didn't go down a needle size because I was worried it would look a bit weird. Anyway, that's the one reason I think it failed, that made it too wide. And as to why it curled up and outwards, maybe this is a long stretch, but when you're double knitting in the round, the front side of the double knitted fabric is completely made up of those rows where you knit the knit stitches and slip the purl stitches, whereas the back fabric is always slipping the knit stitches and purling the purl stitches. And the purl gauge is always looser, or mostly looser, than the knit gauge. So that's why I'm thinking that the front fabric was a bit tighter than the back fabric, and maybe that's why it rolled up.
That does sound like a long-winded explanation. I'm not sure that I would actually agree with that. But
I think it's very clever.
But put your hair back so people can see the collar. It looks really good.
Anyway, so that's the rib. I went back to the 1x1 and I think that looks a lot better. If you have any suggestions or ideas why I failed, then leave them in the comment section below and maybe you can enlighten me. One more comment about the sleeves. So I am one of those people who dislike using magic loop on sleeves and socks because personally I need to rearrange my needles at least 3 times per round, which feels like a real waste of time, whereas with DPNs you are constantly knitting, you never have to stop. So that's why I prefer DPNs. The only downside of DPNs is that you can often tell where you switch the needles in the fabric. It does help to vary the stitches on which you switch needles, but as you can see here, that only spreads those tiny gaps across your fabric instead of lining them up in straight columns. However, as soon as I blocked the garment, the fabric evened out and now those gaps are no longer visible. So I'm very pleased about that.
I think it looks really, really stunning. So both Madeline's project and my project is just plain stocking stitch, but I think it was good to test our yarns in plain stocking stitch for 2 reasons. I wanted to see how smooth and drapey they'd be, but also to see how the secondary colours in the yarn shine through. You probably can't see it there, but I'm sitting side on and I can see these oranges and yellows and also a bit of a darker red sort of shining through this beautiful colour.
Yep.
And it is so soft and you're wearing it against your skin. So all of these
to
things...
show off how soft it is.
all of these things we're excited about.
Yeah.
Because when you are doing your own yarn, you do get nervous. You think, oh, what if I don't like this about it or that about it?
Yes, exactly. That was really a relief to me because I'm always a bit more on the critical side when it comes to also our own projects, and so I was nervous about not liking it after all when I start this first project. But the more I knitted with it, the more I was impressed by the roundness and especially the softness, which wasn't something we initially aimed at. It just was a result.
No, it wasn't on the top of the priority.
Yeah, but if you have fussy relatives who you want to knit for, this is a very soft yarn.
Yeah. Okay, so I am wearing my Nightingale by Norah Gaughan. And you might remember that this was on the front cover of the Pom Pom Quarterly way back in issue 27. So I knitted it 6 years ago and I talked about my progress on it in episode 71. And I really love it. And I still think of it as being one of the most original and creative cable designs I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And the details are really wonderful. You may not see it, but it has a lovely little picot-edged neckline, which is very delicate. And then it's got slightly puffed sleeves. And also the hemming is a varied rib, so you've got thin and wider panels that kind of just flow very elegantly into the main design. And the main design looks like a coat of arms on a shield, and that's both on the front and the back. So I just think it's an incredibly gorgeous special design.
It's stunning.
And Norah is actually a prolific designer. She's got at least 1,000 designs to her name. And she's written several books, including the Knitted Cable Source Book, the Twisted Stitch Source Book, and her more recent Knit, Fold, Pleat, Repeat. And in this latest book, she shows how to transform basic shapes like squares and rectangles into unique forms using very easy techniques like pleating, twisting, smocking, and simple sewing. So I've interviewed Norah twice before on the show, once in episode 61 and then again in 69. And Norah really is a highly knowledgeable and experienced designer and teacher. And we both felt very, very lucky and honoured when she agreed to lead the workshops for one of our Austrian Alps knitting retreats next year in June. And just to be super candid here, I'm actually really surprised that we still have spots left in this retreat, because I think it's going to be an incredible opportunity to learn from Norah. So I just want to tell you a bit more about what she's going to teach us. So Norah's going to be leading 3 workshops, and the first is going to focus on her favourite techniques for working cables. So that's just to get you really comfortable with working cables. And then in the following session, she's going to guide us through designing our own cable pattern. That'll demystify cables, because really it's just about learning about repeats and mirroring and variations. And then she's going to show us how to chart our ideas on paper and then replace an existing cable in any design with either our own design or a cable from a stitch dictionary. And Norah's also going to design a special retreat sweater for us in our own yarns. I am super excited to see what she comes up with. Okay, and then I actually went back and watched these early interviews, because it's 6 years ago and I kind of completely forgot what was in them, and they're really, really good. I want to encourage you to go back and watch her interviews. They're full of great information. And I've taken out just a 5-minute clip of where Norah's talking about how she would take one type of cable that she's designed herself, and then she will put it through all these iterations until it turns into something completely different, a completely different look. It's really ingenious, and I think you're going to love watching it. So it's included and it's coming up right now. Well, I find your Knitted Cable Source book incredibly instructional and inspiring, and particular in chapter 5, because that's where you talk about just taking a simple motif and that being the basis for developing a whole string of different cable designs. And that's the method you've used for coming up with a lot of your very unique designs. So could you just show us now, or take us through your process of how you do that and illustrate it with some of the examples from the book?
The example that I think shows so much progress and seems kind of amazing is taking my favorite motif, which I ended up calling Fave in the book, and you see a picture of it here, taking this simple shape, it's made from 4 cables, and transforming it from something that seems very linear and in columns to something that's practically a picture or a drawing. So we start with this swatch that has 4 columns, and it uses my Fave motif alternately, like one goes to the right and then the next one over goes to the left, to the right, to the left, all in one column, and there are 4 columns exactly like that. And then we just make one little switch so that each column has faves going the same direction. So on the left, this particular column goes from from left to right, 2 motifs in a row. They're in a diagonal. So all the diagonals of faves are going the same direction in one column, and then the next column is its mirror image. Then that's repeat. So we repeated. We have 4 columns still, but the faves have moved around a little. So that seems like just a little bit of a change, but it does make a new stitch. Then when you look at that, you'll see that there are some spaces where there's some ribbing that doesn't have any cables in it. So I jammed another cable in there and made those ribs kind of cross over each other. And when I put that in all the little spaces that seemed a little empty, then we come up with a new pattern stitch that's very all over, and it's kind of cacophonous and messy compared to the ones that came before it, but it could be a good all-over pattern. Mostly for me, it leads to what comes next. So if we stare at this pattern, we start to see that there are other shapes in it. And I picked out a shape that's sort of like a tent made out of those faves and the new little cable on top of it. And I see that it happens several times over this swatch, and I got rid of all the cables that are in between those motifs. And that makes the next stitch. And you'll see that a lot of ribbing is showing, and these motifs are very clear. And there's one more step to go. If I get rid of all the ribbing that's between the motifs, and then put in some little baubles to really highlight it, then we're left with the final result, which is like, it looks kind of like a weeping flower. And it's so hard to believe that that came directly from the very linear pattern that we started with.
The one that's on the cover, and I am very proud of this one. I really like the way it came out. I made up the cable first, and I was looking at the kinds of patternings that are on Louis Sullivan, some of the earliest skyscrapers in our country, in Chicago, have these amazing decorations on them that Louis Sullivan made up and had put on his buildings. And I was looking at those, and I kind of vamped out from there and made the cable pattern. And then I had already done that before this theme was announced. And when I knew what theme I wanted to do, it just fit right in. And I realized afterwards, and people have said that it kind of looks like armor, that there's a shield-like or armor-like way about it.
And the viewers will see on the table behind me, there's a whole pile of yarn that's just arrived that I have to wind up into balls, and I am going to knit that into your design. I'm really excited. I've got to start it very soon.
Oh, good. I'm so excited to see your version of it.
This is where our classes with Norah will be held. It's a bright, spacious seminar room with lots of windows for good lighting, and the chairs are arranged in a half circle so everyone has a good view of the knitting instructor. Outside of the knitting workshops, we've planned a lot of fun activities, and actually last time we received a lot of compliments on the balance of our overall retreat program, which made us very happy. Workshops take place in the mornings, and in the afternoons we'll be offering a variety of activities that lets everyone, including the non-knitting partners, be social and enjoy the beautiful surroundings. And speaking of the non-knitting partners, they had a great time going off on their own adventures while we were busy in the workshops. Their activities included exploring the area on e-bikes, hiking around Lake Aachen, visiting a local distillery, and of course sightseeing a beautiful old castle. We will definitely do another gondola ride up the mountain as well, so we can see Lake Aachen and the surrounding valleys from above. And at the top, people will have the option to go back down via gondola or to walk down instead. And I highly recommend the latter. Now, this footage was taken last month, showing the mountains in their full autumn glory. But now I'm really excited to be experiencing the Alps soon in summer, when the mountains are covered in wildflowers and buzzing with bees. As you can tell, this hike was one of my favourite activities. I had lots of interesting conversations with people, and it was really nice to do some exercise after sitting in class all morning.
also going to take the ferry, which will combine our favourite activity of knitting with an afternoon of sightseeing. And to change up the program a bit, we've decided that on our day trip to Innsbruck, we're first going to visit the famous Swarovski crystal worlds. It's probably the most sparkly museum you will ever visit, with 18 underground chambers of wonder filled with crystal-inspired artworks by various artists. You may also recognise its iconic entrance, a green giant's head with a fountain flowing from its mouth. After this, we have a guided tour of the court church with its fantastically ornate interior architecture, and then there will be some free time to explore Innsbruck's old city centre. Finally, we meet again for a hearty traditional Tyrolean evening meal before heading back to the resort. Speaking of the resort, we will be staying at the family-run Riesa Resort and Spa, just a minute's walk away from Lake Aachen. The food here is fantastic. There's a huge breakfast buffet, a delicious salad bar for lunch, afternoon cake and coffee, and 5-course gourmet dinners, so you will never go hungry. The resort also offers a really great fitness and meditation program, and in fact some of our participants took yoga classes before the workshops. You can get a massage, enjoy the sauna. I like to jump into the cold plunge in the mornings to wake up my immune system. But if you don't like the cold, there's also a beautiful heated swimming pool where you can relax instead.
So welcome back. I've made a quick change so I can show you my finished project. So what I wanted was a very simple, everyday, grandpa-styled cardigan out of our yarns. And as Madeline said, our yarns are sport weight, and I think they knit up very beautifully to a gauge of around 23 to 24 stitches per 10 centimetres. And the closest design that I could find in a grandpa style and a gauge that's close to us is Insight by Kim Hargreaves, and that was from her book Adore, and here's a photo of it. I think it looks really great. However, wide long sleeves, I know they're very trendy right now, but I find them a bit impractical for everyday tasks. So I tweaked the pattern to make the sleeves a little bit slimmer and slightly shorter, and I also added some waist shaping. So this design is worked very traditionally, bottom up in pieces and then sewn together. So that means that the sleeves are worked from the cuff upwards, and that makes them pretty easy to adjust. You just simply cast on the width that you want at the cuff, and then you gradually increase until you get the desired upper arm width. And you were talking about doing sleeves with DPNs or circular, and I know top down in the round is super popular now, but the one thing I don't like about that is doing sleeves, where this is done flat. So you're just knitting and purling. I'm a flicker, so my purling gauge is very similar to my knit gauge, and it's just as quick or only a tiny bit slower. So I actually like doing sleeves the traditional way, like a sewing piece, and then sewing it together. But if you are adjusting your sleeve, the only tricky bit is to then make sure that your adjusted stitch count on the sleeve cap is going to fit in with the armhole shaping on the body. And you may never have this opportunity if you're always doing top down, but there is a simple formula to do that, and I am going to show you. I've made a little tutorial, but I won't include it in this episode because we've already got quite a long program with Munich Knits, so it'll come in a follow-up one. But there's a pretty good formula that you can use just to adapt any set-in sleeve cap to fit if you've modified things. So I am actually really, really pleased with it. I love how yarn looks in stocking stitch, actually. It's as Madeline said, it's got 10% silk in it and it's quite drapey. It's very smooth. You may not see it from here, but the secondary colours here are slight sort of pink and a little bit of turquoise that you can see.
Yep.
And yeah, I really love it. I'm really happy.
And the colour suits you very well.
Yeah, I love this colour.
But don't worry, not all of our yarns are this bright.
Yes, these are
some
two of our brightest colours.
Mm-hmm.
We've also got this very, very beautiful mulberry dusk, and I am working on, in a darker green, this lovely cabled design. This is Billabong, our foresty green, and then we've got our white opal and black opal, which I think is very special. So back to this design, I'm really happy with it. I think it's very cute, it's just very simple. And I was really lucky to find these buttons, which are pretty much the same colour.
Coming up soon is our coverage of the 2025 Munich Knits Yarn Festival, what we've all been waiting for. And that includes the marketplace, some great selection of vendor interviews, the Munich Christmas markets, and of course some sneak peeks into some of the workshops. But before all of that, we want to briefly share with you what it's like behind the scenes as we put this program together, because it's easy to underestimate how even the shortest segment takes a really long time to prepare. For example, in the final cut that you'll see in a moment, a vendor interview is about 8 to 10 minutes long, but it takes us around 6.5 hours to create that one small vendor interview. Let me break that down for you. So depending on the vendor and how much information is out there about them, I will spend between 1 and 2.5 hours researching them, preparing questions and outlining the topics that they might cover during the interview. Then Mum hops on a 1-hour Zoom meeting with that person to discuss the questions and maybe make changes to the interview. On the day of the interview, it can easily take us an hour to set up the equipment, rehearse with the vendor, which is really important, and then film the actual interview. Sometimes it takes longer. Add another 30 minutes to pack up the equipment and, importantly, back up the footage so we don't lose it. And another 2 to maybe sometimes 3 hours to edit the interview, which includes me cleaning up the audio to remove background noises, arranging the footage and adding some music, and also doing color correction. So all in all, a 8 to 10 minute segment has taken us around 6.5 hours. And it doesn't even include the fact that I also need to prepare and practice the interview, because I need to know what I have to say and what the vendor has to say in case they get nervous in front of the camera and I need to help them out. So all of this is just to say that this truly is a full-time occupation for both of us, and we need the financial support of our viewers to make it sustainable. So, in the spirit of Christmas, we kindly ask you to support the show by making a small monthly donation. You can become a Fruity Knitting patron by visiting patreon.com/fruityknitting and sign up as a Hebridean, Merino or Shetland patron. Thank you very much for your support. The link is in the description box below.
And of course, we love offering patron discounts whenever we can as a thank you, but we do encourage our viewers to become a patron, primarily, as Madeline said, so that we can keep producing this show, not just to get a discount, because the content of Fruity Knitting's 160 episodes is really a very valuable, free educational resource for knitters worldwide. And having said that, we do have 2 very special patron discounts to offer. So Eleanor Mortensen is one of the vendors we interviewed, and she creates really stunning colourwork designs inspired by nature, traditional motifs and flowers. You're going to love meeting Eleanor, and she's offering Fruity Knitting patrons a 25% discount off all of her designs. So thank you very much to Eleanor. And Cecilie from the Danish hand-dyeing label Vildspire, which means wild sprout, is also offering a 10% discount on all her naturally dyed yarns. And Cecilie has developed a technique for creating speckles with natural dyes. That's really quite amazing, and she explains that during the interview. Her yarns are really gorgeous, so a big thank you to Cecilie as well. So it's time to say goodbye now. Enjoy Munich Knits. And look out for a special bonus episode that we're going to be releasing on New Year's Eve. That's to help you welcome in the new year.
Yeah, so thank you for spending time with us and see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Could be, who knows? There's something due any day. I will know right away, soon as it shows. It'd make 'em cannonballing down through the sky, gleaming its eye bright as a rose. Who knows? It's only just out of reach, down the block on a beach, under a tree. I got a feeling there's a miracle due, gonna come true, coming to me. Could it be? Yes, it could. Something's coming, something good. If I can wait, something's coming, I don't know what it is, but it is gonna be great. With a click, with a shock, phone'll jingle, door'll knock, open the latch.
So Madeline and I are visiting the Munich Knits Yarn Festival for the first time, which we're very excited about. The festival was founded in 2023, so it's now in its third year, and it's really grown and evolved during this time. And Claudia Finlay is the hardworking organiser behind the festival, and she's agreed to have a short interview before all of the fun starts tomorrow morning. So Claudia, just tell us a little bit about your background and your experience in event organisation and why you chose to set up a yarn festival here in Munich.
Yes, I'm a passionate knitter myself all my life, and my whole professional life is about event organization, yeah. So when I was invited to New York to book Knitting Live, I was just amazed how this event is my two worlds together.
Yeah,
so,
both sides of you.
Yeah, so I thought I want to bring that to Germany. We don't have it here, yeah. And I thought as well that Munich is a perfect city for it, yeah. Everyone sings always Oktoberfest and Lederhosen and beer.
Which
but
I love.
But Munich is so much more,
Yeah.
It's a sophisticated, vibrant city nowadays.
It's got great transport and
public transport is okay. So we wanted to bring it to my hometown, and we thought about the date, and then we thought knitting seasons in winter, and in end of November, pre-Christmas, all over town, Christmas market starts, yeah? In every corner you find another Christmas market, and so the whole town lights up. So everyone coming here can go after the festival in the evening and drink some mulled wine and have fun on the Christmas market.
And have some gingerbread. That's really great timing, especially for international visitors.
Yeah,
that's really great. Okay, so what's on offer for the visitors during the festival? And also I want to know what criteria you use to select the vendors and the teachers.
That's a tricky part. So we have a marketplace. We want to have like 50 vendors on the marketplace. So we carefully choose because I want a variety on the marketplace. We want visitors coming to be in awe in every corner, in every stand. So they have different stuff they can look at. So that means we have hand dyers for sure. With acid yarns, with acid colors and with natural colors. Yeah. We have regional farmers, not only from Germany but from Spain and other parts. We have even yarn which is made, wool which is made here from the outskirts of town, from Munich.
From a flock. Very local.
Yeah, very local. Yeah. And then we have accessories, gifts, tools. We place some spots, we call it, inspirational spots on the marketplace as well, where we invite designers you know only from the internet. Yeah, so this year we invited Eleanor Mortensen.
She's a German designer, beautiful colorwork.
Yes, that's right. And we invited a young Munich label, which is called We Made Wardrobe. So they will showcase first time ever their designs.
And what I find interesting is you also have larger brand names as little tasting areas, like yarn tasting.
Correct, yeah.
Tell us about that.
We have 3 big yarn brands which are coming just to have tasting bars, which means they don't sell their yarn here. They showcase it and you can go there and just knit a sample and then decide later to go to a retail shop and buy it there.
And you've got a charity?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
We have one place for a charity every year. We want to give back something to society. And that means this year it is a network which is helping women who have trouble in life to go back into their life. And they sew project bags and needle bags to give them purpose and work. And they will sell that on our marketplace.
Okay, that's really cool. And what about the teachers?
Teachers is the same thing. Variety is key. Yeah, we have some old-time favorites like Charlotte Stone with Colorwork sock knitting, with Merit Bitzberger and Magic of double knitting.
So you're doing knitting, but you're also covering a little bit in crochet and spinning as well, aren't
yes,
you? Yeah.
We cover other crafts. Knitting is majority, but we want to cover crochet and spinning. And we have demand for it as well. So after the old-time favorites, we have exciting new technologies. Try to find that. For instance, Linda Skuja with her crochet short rolls is interesting.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Latvian designer.
Yeah. And then we have Irina Hemann from Germany with a very special way of modular knitting her sweaters. Which is, I think, very interesting, and spinners and...
Yeah. So what kind... Have you got a highlight with the teachers? Are you bringing anyone from further afield? Yeah.
We try every year to get some sparkle into the program, yeah. So this year we invited Xandy Peters from New York. So he is coming and teaches that first time in Europe at all. So that's what is our star.
Yeah, great. Okay, so beyond the marketplace and all of the workshops, what's on offer socially?
Yeah, we have a whole hall for what we call knit launch, where you can sit and knit and wait and have a coffee. Then in this area we have some activities going on. We have a winding bar for sure, so you can just start to wind the yarn and knit your board. We have a big meet and greet area where we have a schedule. You can meet your favorite designer and influencer. This year, for instance, Sasha Knits from Munich is coming, or Alex Bird is coming, or the hilarious podcaster from Britain, Adam Cleefley. I'm very much looking forward to that. We have something very special for Germany. We have a knitting crime reading.
Oh, yeah, because that's a big thing in Germany, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very famous here. It's a series of crime novels where the knitting club is really solving the crime. So, and the fourth book came out last week, so we have the premiere reading this year. I'm very happy about that. We have yoga for knitters, so you learn what to
sit
do.
Up straight, shoulders back, good ergonomic posture,
and some things to relax your wrists. So and I'm looking for other ideas. So if there are some out there, come back to me.
And there's a big highlight Saturday evening, isn't there?
Yes, first time ever we do an exclusive evening event, and that is with Kaffe Fassett himself. He will start with a presentation about color and inspiration. I'm personally looking forward to that. And afterwards we can sit zip something, have snacks, knit, sit together and celebrate our community.
Yeah, that sounds like a really great program. I'm very excited to be here for the first time. We've been meaning to for a while, and we're finally here. So, and I think you've put a really great program together. So thank you for inviting us, and good luck tomorrow when everything comes together.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Du bist mein Salz in der Suppe und mein Zucker zum Kaffee. Du bist mein Senf für das Würstchen und mein Reis zum Frikassee. Du bist mein Whisky im Soda und mein Pfeffer zum Filet. Ja, du bist alles, was ich brauch, wo ich geh und steh. Du bist der Traum meiner Nächte und mein Sekt im Separé. Du bist mein Roman, den ich lese, mein A bis Z vom ABC. Du bist mein Nerz, wenn ich friere, meine Sonne an der See. Ja, du bist alles, was ich brauch, wo ich geh und steh. Man könnte ohne das alles leben, das hieße einfach ganz schlicht Verzicht. Ja, können kann ich schon, doch wollen will ich nicht. Und wenn ich mal nicht mag, dann mag ich nicht. Du bist mein Unkraut im Garten, meine Fehler, die ich mach. Du bist mein Schloss an der Haustür und mein Schornstein auf dem Dach. Bist mein Brillant an den Händen, meine Perlen am Dekolleté. Ja, du bist alles, was ich brauch, wo ich geh und steh. Du bist mein...
Hello, I'm Tanya. I'm from Munich. This is my first time here at Munich Knits or at any other wool festival. I've been knitting for 40 years now because I've just turned 45. And yes, I'm mainly a sweater knitter. This is a Mary Wallin design, but I'm quite little, so I have adapted it to my size, and I've put in a little waistline to fit me better. And I'm very excited to be here on Munich Knits, and now I'm going to check out the stands. So it's very lovely here. I'm here with some friends, and I hope you like it too.
Hi, I'm Siga.
And I'm Elaine.
And you've seen us before on Fruity Knitting. We were at Swiss Yarn Festival 2 years ago.
And now we're at Munich Knits for the second time. I'm wearing Eleanor Mortensen's The Secret Garden.
And I am wearing Harvest Flower by Jessie May.
Today, surprisingly, I have not bought anything, which is usually not my way, but I'm borrowing my friend's Mominoki yarn that she bought as inspiration for my shopping tomorrow.
And I bought Bichet Bouche, different colors, because I need 5 contrast colors for my upcoming project.
And then we're going to go back to the hotel and knit.
Yay.
As you can see, the marketplace offered a variety of excellent vendors, but no festival program is truly complete without some fun and educational workshops to challenge our minds and advance our skills. Many designers and fibercraft teachers were invited from across Europe and beyond, offering classes in English or German. Xandy Peters travelled from New York to teach his innovative stacked stitches technique, which uses increases and decreases to create curved rows instead of flat horizontal ones. And this creates the look of stranded colorwork, even though each row is actually worked in just a single color. His most famous design using this method is the fox paws wrap. Irina Hemann from Germany taught a construction method that she developed during her studies called Stricken ohne Naht, or seamless knitting. In this technique, sweaters are knitted diagonally by creating triangles with shortened and lengthened rows. So to help students understand the concept, they first worked with paper triangles to explore the basic construction. They then practiced shortened and lengthened rows before knitting a sample. We were also delighted to catch up with our favourite Colorwork sock knitter, Charlotte Stone of Stone Knits, who came up from Switzerland. Her classes brought plenty of Christmas cheer as she used her festive robin socks to teach variations of stranded colourwork, how to combine colours effectively, and lots of other helpful tips so that her students could achieve a satisfying end result. And by the way, we've interviewed Charlotte twice on the show, once in episode 135 and once in episode 150. Melanie Berg is another well-known German designer, loved for her creative and beautiful shawl designs that feature many different techniques like lace or slip stitches. In this class, she introduced students to mosaic knitting, walked them through the basic techniques and then the shawl shapes. And then her students got to design their very own mosaic shawls. We've also featured Melanie back in episode 84 and 149. Soraya Garcia, originally from Spain but living in Amsterdam, is a knitwear designer who loves experimenting with innovative constructions. And the goal of this class was to equip students with the ability to adapt or even design their own top-down sweaters. Students learned about the different shoulder constructions, discussed the pros and cons of knitting top-down sweaters, learned which measurements are essential, and finally put everything into practice by knitting some miniature sweaters. Brandon Mabley, who works side by side with Kaffe Fassett, gave a class on the Persian poppies design, which uses magic balls to create really fun colour transitions. Brandon and Kaffe came all the way from England, and on top of this class, they delighted us with a fantastic evening presentation about Kaffe's artistic life and works. And we had the pleasure of interviewing both of them back in episodes 116 and 117. Julie Dupreux of Julie Knits in Paris is a very familiar face amongst the knitting festival scene, and she's difficult to miss whenever her bright blue hair bobs through the marketplace. Julie is known for her bold and playful brioche designs, so her classes covered the basic and advanced aspects of two-colour brioche knitting. For visitors more interested in crochet, crochet designer Linda Skuja travelled all the way from Latvia. Linda designs exceptionally elegant and innovative crochet garments using crocheted short rows and three-dimensional stitch patterns, and these techniques were the main focus of her classes. And Theresia Lev from the south of Germany led some fun spinning classes for beginners. One explored core spinning, in which you spin your fibres around a central core thread or yarn. And as you can see, you can get pretty wild with this technique. And in another class, she taught the basics of using a hand spindle. This was only a taste of the many fantastic workshops that were on offer, and we were really impressed by the program. I'm here with Eleanor Mortensen, a German handicrafts teacher and knitwear designer who draws inspiration from traditional Nordic motifs, classic colourwork and nature. So Eleanor, what motivates you as a designer, and how would you describe your general aesthetic and style?
I'm a handicraft teacher at a Steiner school, and I draw inspiration for my designs from old handicrafts and nature. In France, for example, I see many beautiful trellis patterns on wrought iron balconies or decorated street lamps. Flowers and traditional motifs like the Dala horses or Matryoshka dolls, which I love as a child, also inspired my designs. I really like Nordic designs, both the classic colorwork and ceramics or embroidery with traditional motifs. In my designs, I try to give these traditional motifs a new modern look.
Yeah, and I think you also like to use fingering weight because you get a bit more detail in your designs,
yes,
right?
Yes, I especially enjoy working with fingering weight yarn because the tight gauge lets me make very detailed patterns.
Yeah, as you will see in a moment. So how about you show us some of your folk-inspired designs and talk about the inspiration behind them, starting with these gorgeous mittens.
Yes, these are the deer and Matryoshka mittens. They use the same patterns, but have different charts. They are made with fingering weight yarn. I need sock wool, for example. That gives them a tight gauge and makes them windproof.
Okay, and they've got some great little details. You can see the antlers over here that are sort of curling very romantically, and a more simple pattern at the back. Then we've got these.
Yes, this same instructions, but a different chart. These are only knitted with 2 colors, and the little extra details are embroidered on afterward.
They're really beautiful. So the embroidery is down here.
Yes, and the faces is also an embroidery.
Okay, yeah.
And in this way, everyone can decorate their own dolls with unique embroidery.
Yeah, that's lovely.
On the back, you see more matryoshkas, one smaller size on the thumb, and many tiny ones on the palm, which each with a different pattern.
Yeah, they're really sweet. And there's even cables around the cuff. Okay, so next up, I think you're going to show us one of your most popular designs.
Yes,
the Dala sweater.
This is the Dala sweater. This is one of my first designs and also one of my best-selling ones. The motif is inspired by Swedish Dala horses. I tried to give this traditional motif a modern look so it wouldn't feel too childish.
And you also include some extra elements along here, don't you?
Yes, it's to avoid long floats because it makes it easier to knit.
Yeah.
The sweater is a classic top-down, a few short rows shape the neckline, and after the colorwork is finished, the rest of the sweater is kept plain.
Very gorgeous. And I think it was so popular that people even wanted a children's version.
Yes, many people who knitted the Dala sweater asked if I could make a children's version, and so I create the Dala Kid sweater. It's the only children's jumper in my collection so far.
Okay, I'm sure people are crying for more. But tell us about the difference between this one and the adult sweater.
Yes, this sweater, the motif is placed on the body instead of the yoke, because it would too long for a child's yoke.
Yeah.
And here the yoke features a small flower pattern, which also appears in the horses.
And on the cuff. Very sweet.
And this is this is available in 5 sizes for children aged from 2 to 10 years.
Great. And what is this one?
This is a Sleeping Beauty sweater. The motif is inspired by the fairy tale Sleeping Beauty. Fairy tales are an important part of the Waldorf curriculum, and this one has always been one of my favorites. At the sweater you see roses climbing from the bottom to the top. For this design I use merino single linen yarn and some yarn I hand spun myself.
That's really special.
I spun it with some fibers, some hand-dyed fibers, into a color gradient yarn that changes shade about every 10 meters. If you prefer, you can use a gradient yarn from Spin Cycle or Junction Fiber Mill, or you can knit each row of leaves in a different color from your stash.
And I guess what's most important about the contrast color is that they all have the same value, so they stand out equally. against the background. And what I love especially down here is this little rose.
Yes,
little
it's
bit of
embroidered
asymmetry.
on afterwards.
Ah, okay. All right, so then we have this one, which is inspired by something you saw in France.
Yes, this is inspired by the old French garden fences. It's a secret garden sweater. This is a collaboration with Regular Yarns, who provide me with a sock yarn that had a high alpaca content. The main colors I use, it's 2 colors, and they are very close in shade, which creates a lovely gradient, like a sunset behind a garden fence. Yes.
That's gorgeous. Okay. And you don't only do colour work, do you?
No, color work, I love it. That makes up most of my designs. I draw and paint a lot, and so it's easy for me to visualize an idea and turn it into a color pattern. But I also love lace patterns. They're much harder for me to visualize, but I was happy to put some extra effort for this cardigan. This is a dried roses cardigan. It's knitted with merino single linen yarn, which is one of my favorite yarns, combined with a kid mohair silk thread to give it a more fluffier texture and look.
And a bit of shine as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I create my own lace muster for this design, and it's take me a long time until it looks the way I wanted it to.
Yeah. I love it.
Yes, but the cardigan is knitted from bottom up, so you can practice the pattern in the body without any decreases or increases.
Yeah.
Later, the separate pieces are joined together, and the cardigan is finished in an easy-to-follow raglan construction.
Beautiful. I love this design. Thank you so much for showing us your romantic designs. Now, I know people are going to be asking, what are we wearing? So quickly tell us, what's this design and what's your design?
You wear the snowflower sweater, and I'm wearing the Mario Lane sweater, and this is my first design, and I think this is my second one.
So they're the originals. Well, thank you for sharing your designs with us, and I'm excited to hopefully knit one of them one day.
Thank you very much.
So I'm with Cecilie from Vildspire, which is a Danish brand that creates beautiful hand-dyed yarns using natural ingredients and luxurious fibre blends. So Cecilie, briefly tell us about your background and what you're offering here at Munich Knits.
Yes, well, I have a background in the fashion industry. I have a degree in ladies tailoring and fashion design. When my kids were born, I started knitting and fell in love with hand-dyed yarns, especially the naturally ones, sparked my curiosity. So what I brought here are all my hand-dyed yarns, natural dyed, with different plants.
Okay, and what's the story behind the name Vildspire?
So, Vildspire, as you pronounce it in Danish, a lot of internationals say Vildspire, found by me. If you translate it, Vild means wild, Spire means sprout. So I wanted an open name in case I decided to go in another direction other than just yarns and knitting.
Yeah.
I kind of see it as, well, Vild and sprout, wild and sprout, references to nature. But also kind of like all my ideas sprouting wildly about.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
So show us your yarn bases and explain which different plants you use.
Yes.
Maybe starting with this one. It's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
What is this?
So this is a fingering weight merino alpaca silk, as well as an alternative to silk mohair. It's an alpaca silk. They're dyed with tansy and indigo. Tansy is a weed in Denmark. Everywhere you can find it, so I foraged that and over-dye it with indigo.
Okay, great.
What about this one?
These ones are also indigo, the blue colors. So this one has more dips than this one, so it comes darker that way.
Okay.
So the yellow ones are what I usually use for yellow ones. I have this one, which is birch. I live close to a lake, so a lot of birch trees. I use the leaves, and even if you pick them in early spring, you can get almost like an acid green from it.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Looks like a real bright lemon, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this one, more warm yellow, is from heather, which we also have a lot of especially in the western of Denmark, not so far from where I live. This one is actually also the tansy, firstly dyed with the tansy and then over-dyed with an indigo.
Okay.
So different amounts of indigo give different greens.
Yeah, interesting. And you've got some browns as well.
I've got some browns as well. My favorite dyes for browns are walnut for the chocolatey brown and alder cones, which give this more caramel brown.
Yeah.
I have some reds where like the orangey reds are madder root. But also, again, different dye baths. I love to exhaust the dye baths. So this one's the first one. This was like the third one. Gives a lighter color. For the pinker ones, it's cochineal. It's actually a small insect. You also use it for makeup and food coloring and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, well, you have some gorgeous solid colours, and most natural dyes do stick to solid colours, but you've actually found a way to create speckles. So how do you achieve that? And can you show us some more examples from your yarn range?
Yes, well, when I started doing natural dyeing, I did a workshop, and I was like all super excited. Can we please do speckles? Because speckles was a big thing in Denmark. And they were like, no, you can't do that with plants. So I was rather disappointed, but also really provoked, because I'm kind of the person, if you tell me you can't do that...
You're going to prove them wrong.
I'm going to prove them wrong, yes, exactly. So I went home, I studied, I Googled the internet, I experimented, and I thought, okay, so I need dye stuff on the yarns, I need heat, I need water to fixate it. So what I did, I found out that if I put the plants directly on the yarns, and then I wrapped it up and I put it in this preserving pot, so you have water in the bottom and then it steams up. Pack my yarns in there, and then I found out in that way I could have the dyes and the colours directly on the yarns in specific places where I wanted them.
Clever you. Okay, so show us some of your examples.
Yes. So I have this one, which is one of my most actually popular ones. What I also like to do when I do the speckles is to exhaust my other dye baths, because I find when I've spent my time collecting, foraging and making a dye bath, I'd like to use all the color. So when the color is almost non-existing, it's perfect as a base for speckles. So it has just a hint of yellow. Then I've used, again, the tansy. I also used chamomile for the yellow speckles. I used common reed for the green ones. I used walnut for the brown ones, and cochineal for the pink ones.
And do you wrap them up all at once, or is it a gradual process for each
all
new
at once,
plant?
actually.
Okay.
Yes, all at once. But sometimes, there are several processes when you do the over-dyeing first. Also, sometimes I do them with the speckles first, and then I decide, okay, this needs a hint of something, so I over-dye them.
Okay.
I think you can do natural dyes, you can divide in two groups. They're like the ones with the scientific approach, and then there are the more intuitive ones.
Yep.
I'm definitely the last one. I think that even though you weigh, measure, do the exact same thing, you can't be sure to have the exact same color again. So I like to work with whatever I have at hand and see what comes out.
Yeah.
And you can always over-dye or speckle or something. I haven't had to give up on a colour yet.
Yeah, so in general you tend to stick to light bases for speckles.
Yes.
Do you have some more examples to show us?
I have some more examples, yeah. I have this one where you can see it has like a very light pink on different bases. I have it on my French merino, the fingering, and the alpaca silk. So you can mix them also. But always they turn out a little bit different. And I tell people this is because it's plants, so I can't guarantee that you can get exactly the same color again.
Yeah.
Also, this one is with the madder root, so an exhausted dye bath of madder root, and then madder root and walnut on top of it.
Yeah, and you can tell it has a light orangey effect to it. That's gorgeous. How do you see your business developing in the future?
So I hope to do more workshops. I love teaching, and of course I hope to be dyeing even more yarns.
Claudia Eisenkolb is a German knitwear designer and the author behind this German book, Maßgestrickt, Der Weg zur perfekten Passform, which means custom knit, the path to a perfect fit. This book breaks down sweater construction and it empowers knitters to customize their sweaters for a better fit that perfectly flatters their body shape. So, Claudia, when visitors come to your booth, what will you be offering them?
Yes, I have all my patterns with me. You can see them here and also the samples here. And then I can recommend them which garment would best fit their body shape.
Okay, great. And so most women's upper bodies, they differ not only in bust size, but also in shoulder shapes. And I think we are two perfect examples. Whoopsie. I have very square shoulders, whereas you have more rounded shoulders.
Yes.
So how can I tell if a sweater fits me properly around the upper body? And also, which construction methods work best for different shoulder shapes?
Yes, when you wear your garments and you're always rearranging it, but because you feel uncomfortable, this is the best sign that your sweater doesn't fit.
Yeah. Okay, and you've brought some samples with you that show different construction types, so why don't you demonstrate them to us?
Yes. First of all, we have the contiguous shoulder. It just has 2 stitches along the shoulder, and there are increases on both sides. And then when you reach the width of the shoulder, you knit the sleeve, and the sleeve starts with only these 2 stitches.
Okay.
And this one is perfect for your shoulder shape.
Okay, for square shoulders.
Square shoulders, yes.
All right, what's the next sample?
The next sample is the saddle shoulder. The saddle shoulder is nearly the same but for round shoulders, as for sloped shoulders, because it has more stitches here around the shoulders, and your square shoulders are higher than my sloped shoulders. This part is the sleeve is your sleeve.
My sleeve depth.
Sleeve depth is higher.
Yeah.
So you start with 2 stitches, and then when you come to the stitch where the round shoulder is, there are more stitches, and so the round shoulder starts here. So there have to be more stitches already when you start with the sleeve, increasing the sleeve stitches. Next sample is the German shoulder or European shoulder. You can see it here on the back. Yes, the shoulder seam is not on the top of the shoulder, but it's sloped here on the back of the shoulder. So all increases here are on the back, and the front is straight.
And this works well for square and rounded shoulders, but there's a little bit of a difference, right?
Yes, it's a little bit of difference. The slope has to be less for a square shoulder.
Okay, and steeper for rounded shoulders.
Yes.
Great.
Then I have the compound raglan. This compound, it's because there are different angles that are in these things. It's here you increase quicker, and then it goes every 4th round, and then every 2nd round. Okay. And the ratio of increases of the sleeve is another than for the body. This is the difference to the classical raglan, which increases every 2nd round.
And who's this better for?
It can be used for both knitters. This is for a round, for a sloped shoulder, and for a square shoulder you have to make work increases here.
Okay.
At this point, sometimes you see here there's a line and there are stitches left and right, but I would distribute them so it doesn't seems not so visible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So and then we have the yoke. And this also works for both shoulder lines. But for a round shoulder, the increases have to work differently than for a square shoulder.
So I would have to increase faster, wouldn't I?
Yes, you have to increase faster. I can show it in another sample. So on this patterned yoke, yes, you can see for the for round shoulder, there is like it's less than a half circle. For a square shoulder, it should be nearly a half circle. So the increases have to be worked in this part already, and then less in the next part. And for the round shoulders, it has to be evenly distributed.
Okay. So after we've worked the shoulders, the next step in a top-down construction is to work the body with the option to add some shaping. Could you show us the different ways you like to add waist shaping and short rows to create a more tailored look around the body, no matter what size you are?
Yes. I mainly recommend every knitter to have a little waist shaping, even when you have a larger bust.
Yeah.
So this is the classical
waist
shaping. Yes, it's knitted 2 stitches, 4 stitches beside the side seams on each side, and for the front and the back. So there are 4 increases in the round, and
you decrease up to a little bit above the waist, and then you knit straight for 2
Yes,
inches.
and I increase to the hip.
Yeah. Okay, and what's the next one?
The next one is the
very pretty top. So this one's the princess.
Yes, this is the princess seam. The princess seam is worked on the front, underneath your bust, on both sides, and on the back there are a third of the number of stitches away from the side. Yes, and you have a line, and you decrease on both sides of the line. So you have here 1, 2, 3, 4, and also 4 at the back.
8 decreases per round.
Yes, and
who's this good for?
Yes, it's good for people or knitters who have a large bust but have a small waist. Yes, because it puts the garment around the curves. It looks,
despite having a large bust. Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Okay, what's the next one?
Here we have the bust darts. Bust darts. This is also for knitters who have a large bust and also have a bit of tummy. So because the way from your shoulder to the hem is longer on the front than on the back, and when you don't do anything, the garment will look shorter at the front. You work the bust darts. It's short rows, and this compensate the length. So when you wear it, you can it looks even at the front and the back.
And we have another variation that uses short rows as well, right?
Yes. The bust darts are not couldn't be worked good on a patterned design, or such as colorwork or cables or lace. So there's another option to work the short rows. Here you can see here before you knit the hem of the so.
That's really clever. I hadn't heard of that before reading your book.
Yes.
Actually, yeah.
Yes.
So that's for people who have a large bust and also a bit of a tummy, or even a flatter bust and a bit of a tummy.
Yes.
It's a great way to make sure that the top ends up being even.
Yes.
So I think you have one more design to show us.
Yes. There are also women who have a larger at the hips, and then you can also work an A-line. These are just only increases at the side seam, and when you need lots of increases, because you have to increase such more than 50 stitches, then I recommend also make increases here around, like on the line of the princess seam, but only one on each princess seam. So
on the front and the back side again?
Yes, on the back side.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us. I think a lot of knitters out there would appreciate it and are looking for exactly what you have to give in the book and also in this interview. So thanks for coming on to Fruition News.
Thank you for having me.
We're at the booth of Chihiro from Mominoki Yarn, which is a hand-dyeing studio based in Berlin. But Chihiro, the owner, is actually originally from Hokkaido, which is a northern island in Japan. And she moved to Germany several years ago to eventually open up this business together with her partner Lasse in 2017. The name Mominoki is really sweet. It means fir tree in Japanese, and it's actually inspired by a beautiful fir tree that grows in her back garden and attracts all these birds and animals. And Chihiro wanted her yarns to attract lots of knitters and to inspire them. So that's the reason for the name Mominoki Yarns. Now, Mominoki Yarns uses lots of beautiful yarn bases, but I want to point out two in particular because they are both grown and spun within Europe, which is pretty special. The first yarn is the Finn wool, which comes from a flock of Finn sheep, which is a land breed in Finland, meaning that breed has naturally evolved over time to adapt to the local climate there. The fleece is known to be pretty soft and shiny, and this is a 3-ply fingering weight that is worsted spun, I believe. So it's perfect for shawls, it's lovely and drapey, and comes in lots of gorgeous colours. The second yarn is a German merino, and this comes from a flock of merino sheep in the south of Germany, just at the foot of the Alps in a beautiful region, and that's also where the yarn is spun. So both of these yarns are actually spun by different family-run spinning mills, which is also special. And this, of course, is 100% made in Germany, since the dyeing business is also in Germany. Speaking of dyes, I think it's time to learn more about the colours. So I would love to learn what you're wearing here and talk about the different colour combinations you would recommend for these different designs that you're showing. But before that, I read that you use 6 different acid dyes, and just with these 6 bases, you create lots of different colours, from muted to very bright.
Yes.
So point that out as well.
Yeah.
What's this design?
This is 5 by Issue Relic tie.
And which colours are you using?
Yes. This is Jama Merino Light. The color is
That's
lemon.
really fun.
And milk tea and ashes.
So,
sorry, this is auburn grey.
Auburn grey. So 2 muted colours with a very bright colour. And you've got 2 other colour combinations for this design.
Yes. So this is double pumpkin, nutmeg, and mahogany.
So a very autumnal colour palette. And the third one?
So this is sand, mare, and, this is mahogany.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Give us a quick swirl to show the design from the back as well. And it's got some nice buttons at the side. It's lovely. Okay, so moving on to the next one. I think you have a design in Finn wool. So this was the German merino.
Yes.
Okay, so what's the Finn wool design? What's that called? Is this the popcorn?
It's popcorn curry
Yeah.
by Midori Hirose.
This is so cool. It's really bright and bubbly. And you said that this would also be a good colour combination.
Yes.
Which is pretty wild. It's not something I would think up of, but actually, when you think about it, it's pretty groovy. So this would be the bobble colour, and that's the base colour.
Yes.
Yeah. You're kind of doing the accents in reverse here. Great. And what's this next design? You use a silk base for that one, I believe.
Yes. This one.
That's very pretty. What's this design called?
This is Snow Crocus by Midori Hirose.
Okay. So which yarns do you use for this?
Yes, this is used Jama Merino Light and silk mohair together.
Okay. And isn't that a crazy colour combination? That's gorgeous. Do you have some more that you want to show us?
So
that's really pretty.
This is the combination lavender with apple mint.
That's wonderful. So bright. Okay, and one more.
Okay, we have also some swatches. This one is combined with nutmeg and saffron.
Okay. And what I love about these designs is that when you look at the individual colours, the way you combine them, they look really bold, but when you look at it overall in one knitted up fabric, it's quite harmonious and elegant. So thank you for showing us your colours and the knitted up samples.
You've explored every single booth on the market, filled your bags with delicious, colourful yarns, taken a workshop or 2, and listened to an exciting knitting crimmy. But now it's evening. The market is closed and it's dark outside. Time to make that final stop before our adventure in Munich comes to an end. Off to the Christmas markets. Munich is a large city, and yet during Christmas its people come together like a small community to sing old German Christmas carols, bringing warmth and cheer to our minds and souls.